You're welcome back. This is a BD show. We're live from Bamenda this Saturday evening. And we're happy to have Kari Jackson, an environmentalist, with us in the studio. We've had to share a lot of good things already, and I'm sure that you're already having a nice time. I promised you, your Saturday will definitely get better. And for those of us who are watching us maybe for the very first time, know that we produce this program from Bamenda, the regional headquarters of the Northwest region in Cameroon. Yes, Kari, you tried giving us a hint on what inspired you into environmental work. Will you want to tell us that story?
Yes, this story, I began as a little teenage guy. I told you I lived my life with my grandmother and the husband, my grandfather, who gave me the name I bear today, in the early 90s in Tabiken, where I used to visit my grandmother to her farms after school. You know, graduating from, you know how village life is when you close from school, whether junior secondary school or primary, there's this tendency of either you play, you go watch football, or you follow village masquerade, or you go to the farm.
Sure.
So I naturally choose to be alone in that family as a boy, again, who chose to follow her grandmother to the farm. Because I used to pity her alone. When I close, I have to pass even in uniforms to check on how she's doing, and how when I saw her lonely, and at that age, it occurred to me like she needed some assistance. So I nursed that habit. Even in school, I had to perform so well in agriculture. You know, when they called it manual labor, many guys didn't want it because they had a tendency. So when it's time for manual labor, I remember it was Friday afternoon, at times Wednesday afternoon, guys will go home like it's free period to go and do other things at home or in the quarters. But I found it very interesting. A teacher, I remember him, Mr. Akoko, introduced what they call portions for cultivation. I remember I did the best bed. I constructed the best bed. That year we're doing soybeans. I did so well that each time the supervising and the weeding too, no student will have that time, you know, to go to leave, to volunteer, you know, on his own to go and have the bed of wheat. So I tried to do this and I performed. I harvested a lot. The second year I did same with maize and so on. So I was always giving prizes for the best agriculture student, the best manual labor student, as it was called then. And how did this come about? Because each time I leave school, I go straight to the farm. I saw how my grandmother was constructing this bird, how she did her cultivation using traditional wisdom knowledge. You know, she didn't have access to fertilizers. Those at times she would put on during some seasons, but it's not all the time that she could afford this.
That's right.
So the manner in which she did this traditionally and excellently, and she never lacked food, because there used to be time in a village whereby families don't have food. You know, maize as peasant subsistence farmers, it was not normal that your family should lack maize in the months of March, April, and May, so on. But she used to have these in excess, and hers used to perform better than others. So this knowledge, I after going to high school, because when I finally left school in Form 5, I had to transfer to Kaspambili. But then there was this farm that was found near the Jising Tabiken forest. Each time we visited, it was far off, but people other family members will deny assisting her to just such long distances.
Yes.
So each time I went there, she would ask me to go and fetch her firewood from that nearby forest. I enjoyed nature, Derek. You know, as young as I was, a lot of things came to my mind until the first time I saw an ape. One-on-one, it was observing me. I was observing too. I was just 14 at the time, and the water too that came. I saw the water bodies. You know, I saw water catchment where water is being created, because I used to ask myself questions with these large water bodies downstream in the city of Tabiken. How did they come about? So it piqued my imagination. So each time I return, I always try to converse with her and she told me I like studying a lot. When I go to school further, they will surely teach me how this come about. And she cannot do that. And one of her husbands too, my grandfather's junior brother, used to be a hunter, or he worked a lot with some hunters. He would travel, and each time during weekends, I think there were Sunday mornings, at times Saturday evenings, he would bring us antelopes. He would bring species that are so frightening to. And each time guys are consuming and being happy. I took time. I can remember I took time asking questions and trying to, by then there were no phones, I could even snap them. I tried to draw, so that when I go to school, I try to ask my biology teacher. By then, Mr. Von Joffrey, I thank him very much, because I loved biology since then till now. So all of these questions kept on recurring in my mind. While in Form 5, as we were writing the GC, I was already thinking of how one could even do agriculture independently without going through the necessary the steps in education, like living lower seat, upper seat, and so on. Derek, I bet you when I transferred to Casbambili, I passed very well in flying colors in all the subjects I registered. When I came to Casbambili, somebody told me to do geology. It's very lucrative, and it's a new field that when you graduate from the university, you know our university systems, it will not be difficult for me to acquire a job. And I was rather thinking of my agriculture and my wildlife, and my environment. I said there's no field that I do in high school that has to do with environment. So I really went and joined the environment club of Casbambili. I equally joined while doing the geology. It didn't occur to me that I was not so happy, but I was more biology focused. Given that in the high school biology was too broad, and I rather loved setting. When I went through the BS, for those of you who have done sciences, you know about the BS. One lady, Dr. William Clare, told us that you should bring your carrier, that large book. We used to call it the biology Bible. You carry all of it.
The BS and the advanced chemistry.
And so on. You need to carry those two.
They were red in color.
They were red, especially the BS. So she would ask you, she would give a very practical assignment. I bet you, Derek, we would draw when it's after school. I take time with some other friends. We draw all the diagrams that are found in each of the, in the topic that were being taught for the week. Some were very frightened. So I go as far as there was a branch they called evolution. There was this that talked about ecology. So I became very interested. I started dating back in. After passing, I had to pass into ENS to do geology, because immediately after that I had the entrance to go to study geology. I was not still very happy, so I rushed down to the university to do my biology. I did the biology, and I had to go back to the same forest to start experimenting. My first research was done on birds, doing an inventory of birds in that forest, and wildlife too, having to do a census of the species that are found there. I kept on, and then sustainable agriculture. Before that, as I went into ENS, I asked the question that, what am I doing here? This is not where I belong. I don't belong here, and I'm not supposed to do geology and rocks again. With geology, will I go to a mining, a mining field, and I still come back and do agriculture and improve on that at home? While there, the dream of, that was in 2007, when the dream of creating sustainable run for development. You can get the caption, sustainable run for development. Till today, friends will see me sustainable, because of what I wanted, what we will do that will not undermine or underlimit another generation or a next neighbor or a friend or children, immediate children, from enjoying what you think you are enjoying now. Because we all friends. We are all strangers on earth who are borrowing. Somebody said we are borrowing the planet which we are using from our children. So I had to create sustainable run for development with some other like-minded individual, so that this dream will be lived on. The first bus stop was back in Tabiken, where I witnessed this unsustainable agriculture that was carried out by other peers of my grandmother. I had to nurture this and transmit traditional wisdom, agriculture which was cheaper, which you will not wait on a politician to come and give you fertilizers. You will not have to convince somebody, or you don't have to sell another product before you get fertilizers to improve on your yields. So we did this dance to these trees for the future in the United States. And there was a competition that I entered, which was called the Rainbirds Award, on the Intelligent Use of Water Awards. I grabbed it, where we had to begin introducing agroforestry systems. There are new techniques that you just use trees that grow very fast to improve on agriculture. And today the story is different.
We'll be learning that very soon. What an interesting story you must have heard, and I'm sure that you're convinced that it came from far. It's not a kind of an opportunistic activity, but it's something that came from far. And you see, Kari is definitely convinced about his environment. But what is going wrong and what needs to be corrected? Let's find out after this.